about that. I have a
No,
sticky right here next to my mouse to do that, and it
there it
still
is.
didn't do it.
I
There we go.
always forget. I'm like usually almost to the end before I think, oh, we were supposed to record that. So, looking at the filters, we just filtered by one of the texts, this one in my case. And if it's something that you filter by often, you can save it and it becomes a preset. So I'm going to call this one mine and save. It lives over here into this last column or this last tab under presets. I already had one going on there, but there's another one. And so it's just a quick, easy way to come and just filter yours or some specific setting or condition that you want to look at often. I have another tech in here. If I wanted to look at that text list often, this is how I would just search for Julia's. You can also delete these. Back over here under filters, we're going to clear filters and look at everybody again. The next little tab that they have under here is a way to arrange your columns to really customize the view that you like. I always think it's necessary to have site in there. You want to know what campus, you may want to know what campus is the different tickets are for. That may be how you arrange and how you sort and assign your tickets, looking at where the greatest need is that day or who is already there. Again, you can set a you can save it and make it a preset under filters by typing in that, where is site? Typing in that site's name and applying it. And now we have just the tickets that are at Learning Campus. This might be a filter that we want to save. And it also lives over here under presets. So great feature now, quick way to be able to look at just certain sets of data at a time and to go straight to those conditions that you want. This clears filters. We close the window. Let's make sure that we're still seeing all filters and there's no presets. Oh, the magical button, don't forget to apply. There's everybody. I don't know, I might have liked the shorter list. So the filter button is one of the newest features that they have, my favorite. The next feature that they have added is a survey, an opportunity for you to get feedback from your group services. Under survey, if you click create a survey, so again, in the afternoon, I think my internet gets kind of tired, but we're going to see if it gets there. There she is. And GetHelp, or Hayes, has already done some research and selected or created some kind of default surveys that you can use. You are able to see exactly what that survey says by clicking in it and clicking over here where it says preview survey. This one's just a one question survey. Tell us how we did. If you like that survey and you're choosing to use it, you have to activate it. And then you get the option, or some options over here, some more settings. I think that you would almost always want to date and time stamp that. So we're going to click yes there and click activate the survey. So that has the survey activated, but we haven't said when and how do we send the survey. So back over here in GetHelp, even though we have the survey, we look at the conditions for when that survey goes out. You name the condition. and then pick the survey that you've activated. This will only reflect the surveys that you have activated. I'm kind of partial to the faces one. And it's going to ask you, when do you want to send this survey out? When the ticket is resolved or closed? And secondly, do you want to send it to everyone? You would leave it blank, or to all tickets, you would leave it blank, or maybe just to a certain service group. So only if the survey was more specific to software use, to LMS use, you might send it just to people who solve the Canvas issues, the tickets that were Canvas issues. So you're able to use several surveys at a time and customize which group that it goes to, or just use one for everyone. Once you've created that, it reflects that it's gathering information for you. Great way to get feedback on how your techs are doing, what is customer satisfaction. And again, that's under surveys, and survey is under your admin menu. So what other kind of fun things have we looked at? Under your admin menu and under field, there's a new option in ticket templates. We have some customized ones here, but we're going to take a look at one of them. If you've been using GetHelp, then you might want to notice that priority now has an option as well as assigned to. So these two were requests from a customer feature request. Under priority, you have the option now where you can standardize every ticket that uses this template automatically has a standard priority of on fire or high, whatever your choice is. So as soon as they're created, no one has to set that priority. It is automatically set through the template. The assign to option is a little different. It sets it so that only the service admin can assign a ticket using this template. So it's specific to the template, and it's for the use of basically service admin changes only. So those are two new features that help you with your routing and help you with your settings and your templates. Catching my breath. Let's see. Oh, also under ticket routing, before we go there, I want to show you under all fields, I have created some new or some custom fields. One's called AV and one's called network connection. Those are custom fields. Another new feature is under ticket routing, you now have the ability when you're creating a routing rule to add a condition based on those custom fields. So before, you just had your TipWeb IT fields and your GetHelp fields. Now look, you have those two custom fields that I created. So you completely have the autonomy to change and use your custom fields to create the routing rule that you need for the situation that you have. Those are also new. Okay, so I have some beginning of the year reminders, but any comments, any questions about any of the new features that we've put out there? Silence. It is in the afternoon on a Monday. I can understand that. Okay, so let's look at some beginning of the year reminders. For some beginning of the year situations, don't forget that under your service hours, you might want to review those, make sure that those are the hours that you're still working. Nothing has changed in that. or that you still want to track. And there might be an opportunity at this point where you have a need for some remote learning service hours. I don't know if your district is adjusting some times, creating some different opportunities for support, but this might be the place where you need to make or create an additional calendar or a specialized calendar for your service level agreements. So that's a thought there. And both of these, don't forget, you need to go in and add your holidays. I added Labor Day. I think that's the right day for Labor Day, but you would have to basically add all the holidays. You can skip Saturdays and Sundays, but any weekday holidays that you have, you would want to add here so that way it doesn't count in the hours for your service level agreement. And speaking of which, this is what we have, you set up your service learning hours for, or your service hours for, is for your SLA targets. This is also the opportunity to review your SLA targets, and if you have your settings appropriate for what your current needs are. I know that we're in an ever-changing climate, and our needs are changing, ideas are changing, so it is best to review these to make sure they still are applicable to how your district functions. Along that same lines, we want to look at your service groups. I'm sure you've had changes in personnel, and you might go back and check to make sure that the technicians that you have listed in your different service groups are the people who still have those responsibilities, or add new people. You might even consider some new service groups depending on your new needs. Maybe there is suddenly a lot more devices out there, and you have a new service group that's going to manage those devices. So you may create different service groups, add service groups. But basically, for the ones that you have, make sure that they still have the appropriate people in there, and you've changed personnel according to how your responsibilities and your additional personnel, or just change in personnel's happened. So if you change those service groups, don't forget to change, also manage your routing rules. Are these still appropriate? We have a lot more LMS usage now. So is that still the way that you want to route those rules? Here is an example. Don't forget now, when you're managing rules, that they are that they're based on the first matching rule from the top down. So for instance, in this case, we have now a new group that addresses just Canvas issues, or just your LMS issues, and in this case, especially ones at this elementary. So you adjust those depending on what your needs are. Here's also a routing rule for just Bright Elementary. And this particular technician gets everything but Canvas, and we know that because it is listed under the Canvas routing rule. So that's a little bit about routing rules that you probably just want to reconsider or double check to make sure the right people are in the right rule and it's in the right order. That sounded like a lot of rights. So we talked about rules for different situations. In this particular one, I wanted to point out Canvas issues. This is a double rule in a way, and that we want to make sure that this technician gets, or this teacher could be a teacher that has as a master teacher for an LMS, that she is getting the Canvas rules at this specific site. So you want to make sure that those people are pretty specific in what they're getting. Just an idea that I've seen a lot recently in using the double conditions or two-layer conditions to make sure that they're going to the right place and campus specific. One of I think the most useful things for the beginning of the year is your knowledge base. You can make this super valuable for all of those things that no one seems to remember at the very beginning of the year. These are some of my favorites. Network printer settings, how do you set those things up? Voicemail settings, beginning of the year gradebook setup, password issues. I appreciate when you can add something. Where is voicemail? And the user already has some tools to be able to look at. And this could be a video on voicemail. So the knowledge base opportunities, I think could save a lot of time and a lot of tickets. I'm going to jump over back to the PDF, as I've captured some screens of things that I can't represent in the training group. And I want to point those out to you, or at least let you see. For those of you that are connected to a single sign-on, you remember how important it is, or if you didn't, to know how important it is for your user to put in their ID. This makes it to where your user has the devices that come up automatically. It's easy for them to start the creation of their ticket when they already have their device there, and it gives you and your technicians more information from the get-go to know how to best help them. So for those of you who signed on or been in GetHelp for a couple years and your users didn't do this or forgot, they clicked the I don't know and moved on, they can go under the profile settings in the upper right-hand corner and reset that ID. This is important not only for the user to be able to reflect their devices in their ticketing dashboard, but also for TipWeb IT to be able to track the repairs on those devices. This is a lot on this screen, but I wanted to be able to, let's see if it's going to change. Can y'all see? There it is. I wanted to grab just some little snippets from TipWeb IT to show you how those changes look. So if you have a tag information or you're in tag information, and this is in TipWeb IT, not GetHelp, but I'm trying to show you how important that connection is with that ID. It shows a tag and the life of that tag. The status goes into in repair as soon as a ticket about that tag is in the start progress mode. So there's nothing special you have to do other than the technician goes into in progress and the ticket goes into in repair status in TipWeb IT. Great information to have. It stays in progress until it is closed. Let's see if I can reflect that for you. Resolve, not closed, puts it back into use. But you have the life or the history of that ticket and its repair and even some information about that. One more screen about this. So for those, for just tracking the use and the repair and the issues with a specific device or a specific piece of hardware, this is invaluable. It connects that seamlessly with GetHelp, so that way you are in the know all the time of the life of that ticket. So in our current climate, there's some more benefits from what I'm seeing and the questions you're asking and how we're sharing and discussing things in our trainings. We know that now more than ever, students have their own devices and they need repairs and help. They are submitting help desk tickets. So we're going to talk about some ideas or suggestions how students are using GetHelp. The communication about that repair, whether that's a remote user or an on-site user. It's even more important for a remote user because of the tracking and having to set up and communicate how to get the device to the school to get repaired. And just overall tracking repairs on devices for insurance. And we looked at that a little bit, how that is reflected in TIP Web IT for that management. So I'm just going to share with you a couple of different things that I've seen as we've talked through this, and really ideas I've stolen from you. One of them is if your students are using GetHelp, if you have them logging straight into GetHelp, someone suggested having at the very bottom level, or at the very first level, distinguishing between what problem types a staff might need and what problem types a student might need. So that way the very first choice would send them in a direction to problem types, or in this case, sub-problem types that were specific to that kind of user. So there would be no need for students to get problem types that had to do with a projector, or more grade book, or anything more teacher geared. So are y'all seeing that okay, or is that screen fuzzing out a little bit?
I can see it good.
Okay, awesome. The other idea, if you don't want to put your students into GetHelp, I've also seen using, or your parents, if it's your parents you think that are going to be help submitting these tickets, I've also seen using a Google form and having it submit through your GetHelp email address that goes directly into GetHelp as a ticket, and having a ticket type that just collects those until someone can look through them and decide what kind of problem type they are and how they need to be directed. In this example, I created just an idea called remote request to gather those tickets. But this is a way for parents to be able to help submit tickets, or for students to submit tickets without actually making accounts into GetHelp. Two examples that I've seen a lot of you using. So that tells gives you some ideas of what we have out there. I feel like I talked really fast, and I would love to hear any questions you have or any ideas that y'all have out there and would like to share regarding some of the same things that we just talked about. What are you seeing, or what are you having questions about using GetHelp, or using GetHelp with your one-to-one, or in this online environment that many of the districts are in right now? Is there anybody that has some to share? It's a big group, so we got quiet.
Well, Deborah, I would like to I'm going to pick on Franklin Public Schools a little bit here, because I know they're kind of newer, and I'm just curious, guys, if you, anything in your process of setting up your GetHelp has you a little bit panicked as far as the COVID stuff, or all your students and parents that are remote? Is there something specific on your mind that you are really concerned about gathering as far as data goes for support, or how are you guys even thinking about addressing support for students?
Sean, I don't know if you want to chime in on this. Actually, watching this was really helpful. We haven't seen, because we haven't resolved some of the things yet, the GetHelp portion, Gina. We've been doing the TIP web, but the tickets, to have the students do the tickets, we have set up a Google Doc basically to do remote support, and I'm thinking that this might be a good replacement for that. It's essentially doing the same thing just through the program. So once we have everything in, this might be helpful versus the way we're doing it now, because our guys are actually transferring information themselves from one set of documents into another as to how they're going to address things. So I think that was helpful to see. I know also watching this, the knowledge base will be truly helpful for us. We're stretched pretty thin, as I'm sure every district is right now, but we do the town as well, as you know. So, but I don't know, Sean, if you want to chime in, since you're the one handling all the data.
Yeah, we had talked about, I think we're still on the fences in terms of getting students and or parents in there. The issue we had with the parents is if we do ticket via email, it seems to go around the routing rules. So there'd be overhead in trying to figure out if a parent submits a ticket, what school is the child at. It would seem to go into an unassigned kind of bucket without being routed based on location. So that's where we were at with what we had seen and discussed so far. I think we're going to keep our current Google Sheet and Google Form for the parent support. And we'll probably evaluate it as we go as to whether or not we can leverage GetHelp to make that piece go away.
So Sean, just to add, you can actually take that Google form and put it into the fields don't map, but depending on the answers or the questions you ask in Google form, if you make a very specific questions, you can do some routing from the words, keywords. If you had from your campus names, you can look for if it contains or if it starts with, and have them choose those things. So there is a little bit around that, and I will
Okay.
email me and I can tell you some of the things that I've seen people do or how that looks if you're interested in that. But thank you for sharing.
Yeah, there's I mean, we have quite a lot going on coming from two different systems that we use, and some of the stuff we're definitely interested in doing, but it's trying to get this all done before the beginning of the year is just a matter of we need to pick our battles.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want to make sure that everybody knows, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, that we have a wonderful support page. Let's see if it's going back that direction. Can y'all see the support page? Support@haysoft.com has not only just information about the latest updates, some of which we just visited and shared, frequently asked questions, also the email that you can ask for extra support, and the phone number to call in. So this has lots of great resources and suggestions of how to get some of that started. And it's constantly being updated. It also has a great little search bar that can take you just by a couple of words to find even more resources that you need. You get additional resources under each specific heading up here if you want to go straight there. Great. I would, I guess an old term is bookmark it, but I would definitely make this a shortcut somewhere on your desktop and use it often. I even do that. Any other things that anyone would like to share or questions you have? We can open the floor a little bit for entertaining those, since we were pretty fast in our delivery. Gina, anything you want to clarify?
No, I think you covered everything pretty well.
Okay. So Gina was my teacher, so that's why I'm double checking. Not in school in Hayes. I just want to clarify that. So I appreciate all of you being here today and listening to this. And please know that there's great support at Hayes, and we are always willing to share whatever we can with you. So thank you for attending, and please let us know if you need anything.
Great. Thank you so much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.